Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. And we are going to talk about how to keep your relationships light for 2023 and beyond. Stay tuned. I want to start by saying everyone's job here on earth is to exist in their own frequency. So that means we are only responsible for ourselves, our own goals, our own purpose, and our own happiness and success. A bit of a disclaimer before I begin. When I talk about keeping your relationships light, I'm really talking about the people that you care about and who you consider yourself having a close relationship with. And that involves vetting who the people in your life are and determining which lane those people belong in, as far as people who you're close to and people who you are not so close to. Someone who's on a bunch of games, that's for another video. We'll talk about that another time. For right now, I'm talking about the people who are in your life who you care enough about to give them grace. Okay, so let's be clear about that. Number one is it's not your job to understand everyone. So, you just kind of get in where you fall in. Know where everyone is in your life, what lane you're in with them, what lane they're in with you, and that kind of helps keep things into perspective. Number two is to pray for the people that you love and care about when they do get distant. We never know what they may have going on. They may be hurting, they may be happy, extra happy, and just preoccupied. In either case, you want to pray for them, pray that they're doing well, and pray that they are happy. Or we want to pray that if they're going through something, that they pull through. And we want to be there for them. We don't want to keep them isolated. I admit that sometimes I can be the distant friend, but my loyalty is locked in. When you need me, I'm there. You may not talk to me all the time. You may not see me all the time, but you'll see me when it counts. When you love light, it just feels safe. And let's face it, this world is already cold enough. We don't need weird energies coming from the people that we love and care about. We got enough of that from our enemies. So I guess that would be number three. Give the people you love and care about grace. Give them grace. That means give them time to explain themselves, time to express themselves. Grace. Number four, when you consider yourself loving someone, that does not necessarily mean that you will have to talk every day or on a regular basis. Some friends love sharing memes or gifts or little funny things that they may see on Instagram or Facebook. They like to share content with each other. Everything doesn't have to be a full conversation with that person every day. People have lives. People, especially if they're going through some type of transition in their life. They could be manager at their job, they could be a new wife, they could be a new mother, and they just don't have time to talk to you. That has nothing to do with the closeness of your relationship, especially if you were loving to that person in the past. You still love them, you still have love for them, but roles and positions change, and we got to be equipped to deal with that, because things are going to change for us as well. We can't expect people to stay the same all the time or to have the same stance in a relationship with us that they've had all along. Things shift, and you got to be ready for that shift with no love lost. Number five, trying to control this shift by guilting people or punishing them is just childish. Don't do that. If you care enough about someone, then just reach out to them, holler at them. Hey, what's going on? Hey, just checking in with you. Is everything okay? What's going on? Communicate with that person. Don't just distance yourself because you feel like they're being distant, and then you get distant by not saying anything, and then everything gets weird. Give the person a chance if you love and care about them, because you never know. They may be waiting on you, or they may be so distracted that all it takes is for you to reach out and say, hey, you're getting kind of distant. Give them a chance to check themselves. So again, if you care enough, give them a chance. 6 ties right back into that. Create safe spaces for the people you love. Check in. I'll never forget this past year and the year before that. I dealt with a lot of loss, and one of my biggest losses was one of my aunts who I was close to. And I wasn't responding to anyone's texts. I would kind of see them and then mentally respond. So again, it wasn't personal against anyone. I just wasn't responding to text. And one friend in particular reached out to me again through text and said, "Hey, are you okay? I don't hear from you anymore. I just wanted to make sure you were okay." And that meant so much to me. It kind of sent up a flag of like, oh, I have been distant, because I didn't even really know or take note that I was being distant with people. I guess I was just kind of detaching and dealing with grief. But when that friend called me out, I realized, okay, wow, maybe I haven't been responding like I should. And then that opened up the gates for me to communicate back with her. And then I started responding to the other people that had been reaching out to me. But, you know, sometimes people just don't know that they are being distant. And it took that one friend who actually cared enough to call me out for me to kind of just snap out of it. And I really appreciate her for that. Don't know if she knows, but I really appreciate her for doing that. And from that point on, I started to say, hey, let me just get up out of this funk, because maybe other people feel like I'm not responding to them either. Now, that could have took a turn for the worse. If that was someone who really didn't care about me as deeply as I cared about them, they could have said, well, she's acting funny. She hasn't gotten back to me, so I just cut her off. You know, we live in a cancel culture. People are cutting people off all the time. And in that particular situation, it was nothing funny. I was going through something. But just imagine the amount of people, and I did have one, who cut me off because they felt like I was getting distant with them, and it was not about them. So I just made a decision that the person who cut me off didn't love me, because how can you call yourself loving someone but you're cutting them off because they get distant? Reach out to that person, check in with that person, see if they're okay. I believe this particular person thought it was about them, and it wasn't. But now they will never know what it was about, because they chose to discard of me. And that's okay too, because now I know where I stand. So again, if you love people, you check in on them. You at least owe them that, and you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to your relationship. Number 7, why are we so hard on our girlfriends, but we not hard on these niggas? And when I say these niggas, I mean these men. We're willing to give them a million chances. I might say we, but I'm not talking about me, because I can recognize it. Some females will cut their relationships, and I say relationships because it could be a friendship, or it could be a sisterhood, or anything else. They may cut it off, cut it short, because they don't come to their birthday party, or they don't come to their birthday dinner. But then you would give a man 1,000,001 chances, and he's doing things that are far, far worse. Something to think about. And to take that a step further, you know, some people, for whatever reason, either sometimes this is when you elevate. Sometimes when you elevate, people decide that they no longer want to deal with you anymore. So they may find an excuse to cut you off or cut you back. And here's when you see how they really feel about you. If you love and care about someone, you're going to give them grace, like I talked about. You're going to check in with them. You're not just going to go cold turkey if you had a full relationship with this person and you call yourself loving and caring about this person. So again, some people don't want to deal with you anymore, and they need every excuse in the world not to fool with you anymore. And you getting distant makes it so much easier for them to start rumors and create narratives in their head that you're acting funny without checking in with you first. How rude, and it's so sad, and it's so unfortunate, but it's very, very telling. And sometimes you need that, because you need to make space for the people who really do care about you and who do want what's best for you. So I chalk that all up to God revealing to me who needs to stay and who needs to go in my life. So here's an affirmation, which brings me to number 8. I am no longer available for high maintenance relationships that drain me, put me on edge, or force unrealistic expectations. Again, I am no longer available for high maintenance relationships that drain me, put me on edge, or force unrealistic expectations. I think going forward in 2023 and beyond, we've got to be very intentional about who we allow in our lives and who we allow to stay in our lives. You know, if the relationship is not light, meaning the person is just so quick to give you up or give up on you or turn on you, that relationship is not for you. It's not for me. And it shouldn't be for you, because what that means is the person was never really rocking with you in the first place. So let them go, sis. Thank y'all for watching. Tune in next time.